A man sits in his support group. Faint lines of sweat form along his brow as he continually wipes it away. He squints out at the audience, uncomfortable behind the harsh lighting. Hi, I'm Bill, and I'm an addict. I've been sober for 17 days now, and I'm pretty much past the shakes. Pretty much. The nightmares still come on strong. There's one in particular. My wife, I guess I should tell you, my wife's 2 months pregnant. We found out 18 days ago. I'm hoping for a girl. Catherine Ross. Has a ladylike ring to it. So anyway, this dream. Janet, that's my wife, she's bringing me waffles in bed. Except it's not our bed, it's the baby's room. And we've just painted the walls a bright, cheery yellow in honor of the happy news. But it's not a pleasant place to be. Something's off about it. There's an awful toxic smell and Janet's never smiling. Her normally jubilant eyes become this icy stare. I start sweating, that really uncomfortable cold sweat we get during detox. And that's when it appears. 6 long, perfectly cut lines on top of Janet's bare stomach. I mean, it doesn't make any physical sense at all. The powder should be all over the floor and not in neat, precise rows. And that's the first real contentment I feel. The waffles, the happy paint, none of it matters. All I can see is that powder, smothering my unborn child. I'm not really into dream meanings and subliminal messages. But every time I wake up from that dream, my first thought is of my next fix. How long it's been since my last whiff of freedom. And that can't really be healthy, right?
Dear Dumbo, way to go. What were you thinking jumping from a 35-foot ledge into a 4-foot pool? Oh, that's right, you weren't thinking. Just being that wild Emma we all know and love. Don't get me wrong, I'm glad you're really, really independent, but 35 feet? That's way too high. Yeah, maybe next time jump into the deep end where Cody was jumping, because he actually has a brain. Every time I think about what the future could have been. Remember getting that acceptance letter to Michigan? Such an exciting day. You had everything figured out, all set up to move on with your life. Finally become a grown-up, live on your own. And then you had to go and take celebratory shots. I thought we had learned the tequila terror lesson. Clearly I was wrong. But I guess I kind of knew all along that day would come. Bold girls are the ones with the best stories. I had such high hopes for us. People would constantly tell Mom at potluck, you know Emma's gonna wind up a star. Ivy League school, star on Broadway. They thought you'd shoot for the moon. But I guess you're comfortable on the soft, relaxing clouds. At least you think about it. How different everything could be. How if you hadn't been the epitome of moron, you could be a year further in your life, in your studies, in your friendships, in your mind. I wish I'd written sooner. Sent you some kind of red flag or warning sign. Something to tell you of the colossal pile of shit you were jumping into. Not a care in the world. Changed now, hasn't it? Sincerely, your younger intelligence. Hello, smartass. You think I don't know the depths of my failures? Did you forget they're yours too? It's comical that you so boldly comment on the state of my life when you are a naive, sheltered child. Then again, you've yet to experience life that really matters. You have yet to meet friends outside the realm of school, or read books that change perspective. You haven't lived through Mom and Dad's divorce. You survived, by the way. You've barely thought about reality. I remember the day well. I spewed my coffee all over the patio furniture. I'm not sure why, we both knew I could do it. And you're right, that confidence hasn't left. In fact, it's that confidence that carried me alone to Brazil with 2 broken feet, living and teaching English. how many 18-year-olds can say that they've done that? You had high hopes for us? I guess you've overlooked my current enrollment in a fantastic university and my drive to explore new fields and broaden my horizons, and my wonderful friends who pushed me to be the best version of myself. But I guess I shouldn't be surprised. You live in a bubble, impervious to the outside world. So you can't understand why I wouldn't change anything about that day, jump and all. I do think about how things could be different, but I'm still the wild, probably too outgoing girl that jumped off that ledge without a second thought. The hardest part about talking to you is that I can't remember our childhood. So please, for us, try as hard as you can to hold on to that innocent happiness. You will have such an advantage over people if you can laugh at the little things and not dwell on the past. I know it seems like my colossal fuck up was the end, but it was a whole new beginning. With love, your future independence.
Fluorescent lights come up on a hospital room. A teenage girl sits alone in a hospital gown in the bed, reading a magazine. An older woman enters in a wheelchair and stops at the end of the bed, looking at the girl. The younger girl does not acknowledge her appearance. The lights were too harsh. They made it so hard to read. I wanted to stand up and walk over and turn them off, but I decided on just a painful squint. That must have been where I lost. My first mistake, my first compromising settlement. The moment I gave up the fight. All I could make sense of was the newest fall fashion. At least not much had changed in the realm of clothing. Scarves, gloves, jeans. No one warned me how much I would miss flaunting a pair of those damn skinny jeans. I could rock a pair of pants, all right. I just wanted to get out of that old, itchy gown and walk out of this stiff, airless room. Walk. That was still the plan. 2 surgeries and I was out of here. I can't believe I missed it. My mom placing her hand on my leg for reassurance with a touch so gentle I couldn't even feel it. And my nurse, her touch was softer than my own mother's. And who knew the doctor's tool could be so tender, dragging them along my feet, usually so ticklish, and nothing, no pain at all. I wish they'd just told me. If I'd known earlier, if I'd had more time to deal with... But I guess that's the irony of it. Now all I want is less time. Less time to roll around the life I should be dancing through. Less time to be mocked and stared at. Less time to fail my worldly ambitions. If someone had told me here, right here, I would have fought. I wouldn't have wasted time obsessing over fall fashion. I would have stood up and demanded better. I would have told someone that I needed to dance at my wedding. I needed to walk my kids to their first day of school. I would have stood up and turned off the lights.